Yo, what's going on? What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Two-Man Front Podcast with your boy, Be Easy. We got my boy over here, picture his hair, the fog.
Fixing my hair here, right here.
The fog. We got a great show for you guys today. We got instant reaction. Instant reaction. The college football playoff rankings just dropped maybe an hour ago. We want to get y'all instant reaction. We'll talk about that. We'll also talk about Fog's team looking pretty good. We'll talk about Saquon Barkley's performance, his team historic performance. And we'll talk about the 21 Chiefs. Are there any concerns? Should we be concerned? But also, most disappointing team in the NFL right now. Who is the most disappointing up to this point? Who has broken our hearts that we felt like was going to be good and have not lived up to that hype? And of course, as always, our Week 13 pick'em picks for you guys for tonight for Week 13. But let's start out with the college football rankings dropping fresh right off the presses right here. Let me go ahead and share my screen so you guys can see who the top 12 teams are. So we can go ahead and talk about that. Fog, have you dropped your top 12 yet? I didn't see it.
I did. I'm actually looking to load it in the background now.
Well, while you're doing that, here are the official rankings of the top 12 teams in this week's playoffs right here. As you guys can see, number 1, Oregon, number 2, Texas, number 3, Miami, number 4, Boise State, which I found pretty interesting. Number 5, we got Ohio State. Number 6, we got Penn State. Number 7, Notre Dame. Number 8, Georgia. Number 9, Tennessee. Number 10, SMU. Number 11, Indiana. So they're still in it. They didn't die, but it was burying them after they lost to Ohio State. And of course, number 12, Arizona State, who right now is projected to win the Big 12. But I feel like that conference is not yet to be decided. I think that's coming down to the wire. But Fog, initial thought, any thoughts, your reaction to this week's college football playoff rankings?
I'll say this. I'm not shocked at the rankings. I actually agree. Outside of Arizona State's in there because they would be the highest ranked team based on their record for power conferences. So Arizona State actually gets in. I have Arizona State sitting at I think at 12 or 13. I think I said in my in my thing I would have had them higher.
Yeah.
If they weren't ranked so far back.
Yeah.
But I agree. Clemson is the team that's asked out in this. Unfortunately, I would probably say I would put Clemson ahead of Indiana. And in my rankings, I did have Clemson at 11 and Indiana 12. So Arizona State would actually take Indiana's ranking. But everything else that's in there, I'm comfortable with it. Yeah.
Okay.
Because those are all the teams that I got in there anyway.
Just in different order, I'm guessing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I this is the first time I actually watched the show, and because I try to give it a few weeks to let things play out. Now we're getting the conference championship play here, and this is pretty much the last, I believe, the last real weekend of the season, and then we have conference championship games, and then we get into the playoffs. So I think these rankings kind of realistically show who's going to be in it down the stretch. The only gripe I have is Boise State, and now let me explain to you why. Let me explain to you why it's Boise State. Okay, I believe one of the criteria are the eye test, right? The eye test of how they look on the field, competition, the whole nine, right? I believe that is one of these stipulations, if I'm not mistaken. Okay?
I hate the eye test.
I love the eye test because, honestly,
I know you do. I love
the eye test because
I know you do.
if you want to see the best 4 teams. Right, and I know this is top 12, but
Boise State don't fit the eye test.
Boise State, not even close. Did you I'm not gonna.
Miami doesn't fit the eye test. You know the proponent I've been for Miami, and they don't fit the eye test as a top 14.
That's another team I felt like is ranked too high right now is Miami. But Boise State, I have a little bit of a gripe with because they do not look like a top 4 team.
No.
I watched that entire Wyoming game because I was interested in Gentry, who played well because Wyoming is the 116th ranked run defense, so he played well against them. But he was banged up in that game. He came out in and out in that game. I think he finished the game. I think they were padding his stats a little bit while he was trying to finish that game, and actually almost cost them. But they did not look good when he was off the field. No. They didn't even look good when he was on the field. Like, they don't look like a top 4 team. I understand the committee wanting them in there, and they should be. We all want to see Ashton Genty against the top teams. We want to see him against Ohio State or Oregon. We want to see that, right? But man, I think personally, I think SMU is a better football team than Boise State. If you ask me, I think SMU is a better football team. I do. You said what?
I said I'd agree with that.
I think SMU is a better football team. I think Notre Dame is a better football team than Boise State, right? I think every
team that's in here
is better.
Yeah, I was going to say, maybe Arizona State. No, I think in all honesty, if I had to go based on my personal eye test, Boise State is the worst team in this playoff.
100%.
100%. And the fact that Jesse Smith said they're both better than Miami, though, you're full of shit. Miami's beating better quality competition. So I don't want to hear that shit.
Miami, I don't think Miami's better than SMU. If he's referring to SMU, they're not better than SMU. I don't think so. I don't think Miami.
I think we're talking about Boise State. If he thinks Boise State is better than Miami, you're crazy.
He says Boise literally beat ASU. Did they play this year? I don't think they played this year yet. I don't think they played. Did they? I'm not sure. I gotta look back. I gotta look at the schedule. I don't think ASU and Boise played. If they did, then I'm wrong. And if they did, that's a good point. But I don't think they played this year, Jesse. I don't think they. I think the only Power 5 team Oregon played or Boise played was Oregon, who they almost beat, right, in Eugene, which is a pretty impressive game for Genty as well. But I don't think Boise State is. Right. I think they're the worst team in this field, and I don't like. They're not large, right? Because they're probably going to win their conference, the Mountain West, as a Group 5. So what you're saying is essentially you're saying that Boise State's competition is better than whatever the Big 12 has, which I don't necessarily agree with, but I just don't think Boise State are they better than Arizona State? Honestly, I don't know, but why don't you just swap Ohio State and Boise State and let them play?
Yeah,
just let them play and see what happens. Because I think that'll be a good game, and then we'll see who moves on to the quarterfinals. But that was my only gripe in this. I felt like SMU could have been a little higher. I think they're better than Tennessee. I think SMU is better than Penn State. I think SMU is better than.
Man, I don't know.
I think SMU is a good football team, man.
I know SMU is a good football team, but Jesus, I don't know if they're better than Tennessee or Penn State. And I hate Penn State.
I don't hate Penn. I think I would take SMU Penn State if they played on a neutral site. On a neutral site, if they had to go to Happy Valley, I don't know. I would say on a neutral site, right? I would say.
I'm looking at Boise State just because Jesse Smith made that comment. I'm looking at Boise State's schedule. The only ranked team they played was Oregon, and it was a close game. Not gonna lie.
First game of the season, right?
Yeah, second game of the season. They lost. But we also know that as the season progresses, we see teams get better. I.e., Kansas, who I thought was going to be much better than their record shows, and now Kansas has finally lived up to who I thought Kansas was going to be the Big 12 winner, to be honest with you. Jalen Daniels, his back injury from last year hurt him. He looked like shit early on. But listen, as season progresses, you see the cream rise to the top. Boise State is not part of that cream. And you want to bitch about Miami? I get it. Miami's not the cream either. I don't agree. I look at this top four, and I don't think Miami and Boise State should be there. Honestly, I would say Georgia and Ohio State belong there.
I think Georgia is fine where they are. Ohio State, I agree. Miami, I would switch. If I had to switch any team with Miami, it would be Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame is the best team in the first round. One of the best teams in the first round. I don't think they're better than Ohio State.
You think they're better than Georgia? I would say Georgia, Ohio State, and then Notre Dame are the top three.
I think Notre Dame will beat Georgia right now.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I don't think. I think Georgia right now. I think defensively they're not where we're used to seeing them. And offensively, they're not where we're used to seeing them. And Carson Beck has played like just awful. He's awful. Like he's not good. He's awful. Like, he's not. I don't trust Carson Beck at all. Right. And not that I trust Riley Leonard.
So when we put out our top 5 quarterback rankings, as far as quarterbacks coming out in the draft, Carson Beck ain't gonna be in it.
No. Nowhere near it. Nowhere. I don't think I had Carson Beck even like as a Heisman candidate. I didn't understand the hype. I think people just wanted him to be good because he played on Georgia, right? And he played on the national championship. I get it, but he was so hyped up. Jesse says if Miami even gets past Syracuse, they're getting drilled by SMU. I do. I agree. I do. I mean, I think SMU is a good balanced football team, man. They are so explosive. I think they could definitely beat Miami. But yeah,
they could beat Miami. I just think Cam Ward's the X factor. I think that's the best quarterback in college football.
And I think it's Shador. But I think honestly we're split. I think we're splitting hairs with that. Anyway, I think you can have either.
No, we're not. Shador's got Travis Hunter. Can you imagine what Cam Ward would have done with Travis Hunter? I watched that Kansas-Colorado game, and I heard people talking shit about Travis Hunter being a Heisman candidate. Boy, if you didn't watch that Kansas football game and get the idea that Travis Hunter is the Heisman Trophy winner, you're crazy.
So you think he's the Heisman?
Oh, he absolutely. Dude, he's the only reason Colorado scored points.
Yeah. It's funny because in my poll I saw you pick Ashton Genty.
No, I didn't. I picked Travis Hunter.
Are you sure? I'm gonna go check my poll.
Positive. I am not rolling with. Listen, I love Genty, but Travis Hunter for me is the Heisman Trophy winner.
Yeah, he's the best player in college football. He's the best player in college football by far, right? And people want to say what they want to say. I mean, it's just mainly trolls talking. But if you know football and you understand football, Travis Hunter is the best football player. Genty's the best running back, right? But we've seen Group 5 running backs dominate.
Yes.
I.e. Kevin Smith in 2007, who was second all time in single season rushing, who had 2,500 yards, 29 touchdowns. He finished 8th in the Heisman. Okay, behind McFadden, who had 1,600 yards, 18 touchdowns, and he had behind Tim Tebow. Watch my video. I just put it out on BZ Sports. I explain on my video why Travis Hunter is going to win the Heisman and why Group 5 running backs just don't win it. They don't have the competition. It's just that's the bottom line. That's the bottom line. But all right, so it looks like we're okay with the rankings. I feel like we both agree that Boise probably shouldn't be there. Miami shouldn't be there. I think we agree that SMU should be a little higher. I think Notre Dame should be a little higher. I think we both agree that Ohio State should be a little higher, and we should just swap Ohio State in Boise. And I think it'll be better. I think it'll be better, but we'll see. We'll see. I think I am really, really, really looking forward to this playoff. I think it's going to be so much fun. I think it's going to be the best postseason we've had in a long time.
Honestly, I hope the postseason, if their rankings, I hope the rankings stay like this because you'll actually get to see the ass whoopings that are handed to certain teams. So
it's not that kind of season. We're not going to get blowouts.
You don't think so?
No.
What do you want to put on that?
Look, the only blowout, if it stays like this, the only blowout I legit only see is Ohio State blowing out Arizona State. But let me see. Look, these teams are evenly matched, man. These are the top 12 teams. I don't think there's a big gap between Penn State and Indiana or SMU and Notre Dame. I would say there's probably a bigger gap between Boise and any of those teams in the first round. Like if Boise State play Ohio State, that would be a blowout. Or Georgia, I think that would be a blowout. Right? I disagree. I know that's what people are saying is going to happen, which is why they want to expand it. I disagree. I think it's going to be a great watch. You'll see.
I hope so.
You know, it was a great watch though. It's a great watch watching your team, watching your boy Saquon Barkley.
Jesus Christ.
What he did in LA, the LA massacre. All right. So the question I have for you, Falk, and this is your team. This is your team. What does Barkley's performance say about the Eagles? Are they the best team in the NFC? So a two-part question.
They are in my opinion, on paper, compared to the Lions, because you look at the Lions are a very good team.
Very good team.
Very good football team. But if you go skill position for skill position on offense and defense, the Philadelphia Eagles are the best team. On paper, they're the best team in the NFC. It's not the Lions, it's the Eagles. The problem with the Eagles, we've said it, coaching. Is this going to be the same Eagles team we see come the playoffs? Because if this is the same Eagles team and they work off of Saquon in the running game, you're going to see a better passing game. Because that passing game is going to work off the rush. So the Eagles, in all honesty, are probably the most complete team right now in the NFC and should be the favorite to win the Super Bowl or get to the Super Bowl as far as the NFC teams are concerned. Problem is coaching. Sirianni is the biggest hurdle. And when you have your coach is the biggest hurdle, you've said it before, B, you can't outplay coaching. And the only hope that I can have is that Sirianni stays the fuck out of his own way and Philadelphia has success. And this will be the second time that the Fog says something so ridiculous that I say it's ridiculous. You should fire the head coach after you win the Super Bowl. Because it wasn't the head coach. And that's the reason you won the Super Bowl. Doug Peterson wasn't the reason the Eagles won the Super Bowl. It was Frank Reich and how he worked with both Nick Foles and Carson Wentz. If the Eagles getting to the Super Bowl, hey, guess what? The defensive coordinator, Joe Gannon, look what he's doing in Arizona right now. And the offensive coordinator, Shane Steichen, look what he's doing with a AR-15 who people think is horribly damaged goods. And I think he is too. But yet they're still managing over there in Indy. Those were the offensive and defensive coordinators in Philadelphia while Nick Sirianni was there. So let's be perfectly clear on this. The Eagles win anything. It's not because of Nick Sirianni. It's because he stepped out of his own fucking way and let everybody else do their job. He's not a great head coach.
I don't know if he's not a great head coach. I mean, the guy's like 43-19 overall. I understand what you're saying. I get what you mean. He's not the worst head coach. I think he's the middle of the pack. He's fine. Like I think he's okay. I don't find him as polarizing as others do. I just don't. I think he's fine. I think a lot of teams would love Nick Sirianni on their sidelines, right now, like i.e. the New York Giants or Jets, right? I think they would love Nick Sirianni on their sidelines.
Listen, they would love Doug Peterson, but look what Peterson did in Jacksonville.
Well, who succeeds in Jacksonville? Nobody. So, like,
Tom Coughlin did. Tom Coughlin did.
I believe that was under other management, though. I don't think it was under this regime. I agree. There have been success. There was success in Jacksonville at one point. But to answer the question, I think what this performance means what it says about the Eagles is that they are probably the most balanced team in the National Football League. And when they're rolling like this, they're going to be really, really hard to stop. When they're healthy, they're going to be hard to stop. I think when Saquon Barkley is playing with this much confidence, they're going to be hard to stop. Are they the best team in the NFC? I don't think so. I'm not going to. I'm not going to have a knee-jerk reaction. I believe the Lions have been the most consistent team in football all year, right? The Eagles, like Jesse said, are peaking at the right time. I like where they're peaking. The Lions, I don't even think have peaked, right? And I think they're going to get better with time, right? And they've lost, even though they've lost Aiden Hutchinson, their defense is still looking pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Everyone was burying them and saying that, oh, they lost Aiden Hutchinson, that was the end of the season. No, they actually look better since he's went down, right? So which is kind of scary because that tells me that defense has improved. Aaron Glenn has been doing a hell of a job as a defensive coordinator. He's probably gonna be a coach next year somewhere. He should be at least. He's been doing a hell of a job.
I hope he doesn't take the Jets job.
God, I hope he doesn't either. I really do. I was thinking that today too. I hope he does. He's one of the candidates. he's gonna be a top, but he's a top candidate. I hope he doesn't either. But I'm gonna still go with the Eagles as the best team in the NFC and the NFL. I'm sorry, the Lions. Excuse me, the Lions as the best team in the NFC and the NFL. But I think the Eagles are right on their heels. I think what it does for the Eagles is that it shows that they're kind of back to where they were a couple of years ago when they went to the Super Bowl. Like Jalen Hurts looks better. Everyone's staying.
Oh, they look better completely. They and not for nothing. As much as I hated the Kellen Moore signing, he's once Sirianni let Kellen Moore start calling plays,
he's dealing.
This team it looks simple. It's back to basics. This team is back to basics, and that's exactly what this team is, a basic team. Run between the tackles, play action pass, and there you have it. They're not even running. They're not running anywhere near as many RPOs as they were running with Shane Steichen when they went to the Super Bowl.
You're right. They're not even close. I mean, that was an RPO you're showing the screen right there, but yeah, they're not running as many RPOs.
No, not at all. This is a basic offense for a pocket. In all honesty, this is a Jimmy Johnson, Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith offense. Just modern day.
Just hand out the ball to your best player on the team.
Yeah.
That's the point. Right.
And then when you got to pass the ball, pass the ball to the best receiver on the field.
Best receiver on the field, AJ Brown. Yeah, that's good.
And you're lucky enough to have two guys that are number ones on most teams in the NFL in Devonta Smith and AJ Brown.
I might talk myself out of this, man. I don't know. I still think it's
I told you on paper, I'm agreeing with you. I think the Lions are still the best team in the NFC. But on paper and what Philadelphia is doing, as like Jesse said, the way they're peaking, the Eagles are the best team in the NFC, potentially the best team in the NFL because of what they got on paper, skill position-wise.
Yeah, they're peaking at the right time. I mean, they're going to wrap up that division in a couple weeks. They should. And Barkley, I think he should be the MVP. If this seemed like a year where he could win it, but he's, honestly, people are saying they should try to get him 2,000 yards. I think that's pretty stupid. I don't know why you would want to wear him down to get 2,000 yards in MVP. I would, continue to save him for the post. He has a lock. He's locked for Offensive Player of the Year. That's what he has locked. That's going to be his award. It's cool. He's not going to win MVP. I don't think he's going to rush for over 2,000 yards. He's got to pretty much average what he's going to pretty much average what he did on Monday or Sunday to get 2,000 yards. I don't think he's going to get that, but he's the best back in football. And it's funny you say something. You said something that I want to mention real quick. It's funny you say that they're going back to basics by running in between the tackles. Something that Saquon Barkley was criticized for coming out of Penn State and in New York. But I mean, it's so amazing when you have actual freaking guards,
offensive
line, right, that can actually block, right, to help you run between tackles, right? It's unbelievable. I said this is the guy that we've been waiting to see come out of Penn State for a long time. This is the guy, right? And it's amazing how his talent is being maximized right now. This is the Penn State Saquon Barkley. This is it's incredible how better he looks in an actual functioning team. And he looked good in New York. Like he looked good in New York at times. There was just no line. It was unbelievable. So I'm happy for him. Eagles look good. They look like at the very least, no worse than the third best team in football. And I say third because I think the Lions, the Lions, the Bills, and the Eagles are my top three teams. I'd
agree with that.
I don't have the team we're about to talk about right now. I do not have the Chiefs. Get this one. I don't have the Chiefs in my top four. They're in my top five. They're not in my top four right now. They're not in my top four. Okay. 10-1 Chiefs. Fog. Chiefs went into Carolina. They went to Charlotte, North Carolina to the Panthers. And the Panthers pretty much gave them all they can handle. If it wasn't for an amazing run by Patrick Mahomes, they probably lose that game. Fog. 10-1 Chiefs. Any concerns? Should we be concerned at this point for the Kansas City Chiefs entering the postseason?
Okay. I was concerned before that game. The Carolina game I want to make this perfectly clear. The Carolina game had nothing to do with how I feel about the Chiefs. I felt about the Chiefs this way before that Carolina game. As a matter of fact, I thought that Carolina game was a trap game, and I bet Carolina getting, I think it was like 8.5 or 9.5 points on BetMGM. So I'm concerned about the Chiefs because I put it out there about teams with rushing offense, defense, being top 10 in both, getting to the Super Bowl. This is a team that's been to 2 Super Bowls. This is a team that is exhausted, and their defense is holding everything together. This offense is not. This offense is just showing up when it needs to because the defense is keeping it close. As the season progresses, you're going to see struggles. And if this offense doesn't turn it around, this defense is not going to be able to sustain how they're playing right now. And we saw it in Carolina. They're going to get it. Teams are going to get them. Teams are going to get them. They're going to break them. And when we get into the playoffs, because Chiefs are going to the playoffs, there's no question about that. The Chiefs are winning that division. They're going to be the first or second seed, provided they don't fall off and the Bills leapfrog them. So they're going to be the 1 or 2 seed. But when they get into the playoffs, this Chiefs team is going to be in trouble. And it's because of their offense and what we're seeing from Patrick Mahomes, from the offensive play, from the lack of that offensive line. Let's be honest, that offensive line sucks. They can't protect him to save their life.
Those tackles are awful. They are really,
So if 10-1 Chiefs, we said this about your Steelers. What was it? Ben Roethlisberger's last season or second to last season? Steelers went like 11-0, and it's like, no, they're not real. They're not real.
I think it was 20. It may have been 2019, before he messed up his elbow.
Yeah. So that happened. Remember the Eagles last year? They're 9-0, 10-0. And I'm like, yeah, this team is not as good as that record is showing. The
Yep.
Chiefs are not as good as that record is implicating right now. And let me tell you something. The Chiefs got a lot of gifts against some good teams.
Here's the thing. I think, well, I got some numbers. I'm not an analytic guy, but I got some numbers. The numbers wise, they're not bad. They're like middle of the pack on offense, middle of the pack.
Mm-hmm.
I know they're 10th in scoring, 14th in yards per game. Let's see, 19th in yards per play. So they're not moving the ball down the field. They are first in third down conversions, right? So that's something that I feel like is a plus for them. And however, they are 16th in red zone scoring, which is something they've been pretty good at in recent years. 24 rush yards, which I think obviously Isaiah Pacheco's not back. I think that's the key. Once they get him back, maybe 18th in rush yards per game. But defensively,
Getting Pacheco back changes or increases that at all? Because I'm gonna be honest with you, Kareem Hunt's done a fantastic job.
yeah, no, I mean, I think it's good. I think it's gonna be an add-on. A 1-2 punch would be a good thing. I think they're gonna need that in January. They're gonna need to run the football.
Yes, they will.
There's nobody explosive. There's nobody out there outside of Xavier Worthy, who I have claimed I think is not good pick. He's a track guy. I just don't think he's very good, right? And I think the Chiefs just felt like he was going to be a little better, and he has not panned out to be that guy. Okay, people are saying, "Oh, you got to wait and let him develop." I understand that he could get better, but I think the Chiefs were waiting for him to be good now, right? Show us something right now. Be that explosive threat right now. Kind of similar to what.
No, I think Andy Reid drafted him with the idea that he could be Deshaun Jackson.
Exactly, right? Or be what Zay Flowers was last year for Lamar Jackson.
Right? Yeah.
Same similar build, similar speed. Everything's just he's just not a good receiver. Xavier Worthy. He's just not. I don't think he's going to pan out to be that much, but they have no explosive threat down the field. I think the Chiefs, they beat teams like the Panthers. They can be on their C game and beat the Panthers. They're not going to be able to play the way they play the Panthers against good teams, which every team in the playoffs is a good team. That's the problem. I understand people say, oh, they're 10-1, they'll be fine. No, the postseason, everything changes. The record doesn't matter. You're playing good teams. You're playing a team that can beat you and go to the Super Bowl potentially, right? That's what the playoffs are all about, right? The margin of error is so much smaller in the postseason. I don't care if the Chiefs won this game. I really don't. I expected them to, right? I expected them to win this game, to find a way to win it. Okay, the Panthers.
I thought they were going to lose.
I watched that game, Fog. I was watching it on the red zone, and they stayed on it for a while. I was like, they're going to find a way to win this game. They're not going to lose to the Panthers. They're just not going to lose to the Panthers. I kind of felt that, but I'm telling you, let's look back at the teams they should have lost to, but they were just kind of like shady calls or just like the tip of toe of Isaiah Likely's toe, right? They could have lost to the Ravens opener. They should have lost to the Bengals. Okay. They did lose to the Bills. They needed a field goal blocked to beat to beat Denver. That's 4 losses right there. Okay. That's 4. Okay. And I may be missing one. That's too many games where the margin of error is so small and you've gotten lucky. They're not going to get lucky 3 to 4 games in the postseason.
Right? Well, then the other thing is what is it? The score differential, point differential.
Mm-hmm.
They're one of the worst out of all the playoff teams. If you broke down the playoff teams, I think they're one of the worst, if not the worst, in point differential. If you suck in point differential, and again, this is just statistics, people. This is the odds. If your point differential isn't in the top 5, when you're going to the playoff teams, guess what you don't do? You don't win in the playoffs.
Nope. That's the thing. I think that's what I was talking about. The margin of error becomes so small, so much smaller in the postseason, right?
You're
I think
getting away in the regular season with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes.
the best
You're
thing they can
not
do.
in as much as we love them in the postseason.
Yeah.
You don't have the personnel. If we're talking about the Eagles and the Lions, let's
Right.
look at the Chiefs and compare them personnel wise. They can't even fuck with the Eagles or Lions.
No. Well, let's look at the NFC or AFC, right? Personnel wise, they're not messing with the Bills.
Nope.
You know, they're not messing with Baltimore. I know Baltimore is
Nope.
shaky, but they're not messing with Baltimore on paper, right?
Baltimore's had a hell of a schedule too.
They've had a hell of, oh my god, yeah, their schedule has been brutal. The AFC, everybody in the AFC North schedule has been brutal. It's just been really brutal, right? But I will say this: the Chiefs have two things going for them. Two things. One, the AFC is not as strong as it used to be. It's not strong this year. I think everyone's beating up on everybody, and I feel like the Ravens are still around. I like Pittsburgh, but I'm even my own team, my team Pittsburgh. I'm still bullish on them a little bit. Let's see how they do in this next 4 or 5 stretch of games. We're gonna see them on Christmas Day too, so that's gonna be a good game. The Bills are still around. The Dolphins are trying to claw back in it. The Texans have been up and down. CJ Stroud's sophomore slump. I don't trust the Chargers. I still, even though they're 7-4, 7-5, I still think they're a year away.
Their injuries are
killing them as well. I don't trust the Broncos. I think they're a year or two away. Like the Chiefs have that going for them this year. That's going to help them possibly in the AFC. I think they're going to make the other thing they have going for them. The other thing they have going for them is that they can secure the number 1 seed in home field advantage.
Yeah,
that's what they have going for them. If they can do that and the road to the Super Bowl goes through Kansas City, they should be okay. They could be okay. I don't see a team beating them in Kansas City in the playoffs. I will say that. That's going to be tough. I don't see them, like, if they lose that though, I don't think the Chargers or Broncos are going to catch them in the AFC West. So that's done. But if they don't secure a home field advantage, the number 1 seed, like if the Chiefs catch or the Bills catch them or the Ravens catch them,
I'm not going to lie. I think the Ravens, the Bills, and the Steelers can beat them at home.
I think Ravens can. I think the Chiefs can. I'm sorry, the Bills can. I don't know if Pittsburgh can.
Listen, I'm going to look at Mike Tomlin the same way as a baseball fan. I looked at Tony La Russa. These guys won with shit, with mediocrity. But then when they had great players on their teams, they couldn't win nothing. Mike Tomlin has mediocrity here. I'm like, listen, when Mike Tomlin won a Super Bowl, outside of Ben Roethlisberger and maybe James Harrison, who are the Hall of Famers that are on that teams?
On the Super Bowl teams?
Yeah.
Ben, you said James Harrison. I mean, some make the case for Hines Ward.
Maybe
some
not
Pouncey, the Pounceys or Pouncey.
Yeah, Pouncey. You can.
Yeah. Cam Hayward was there. A younger Cam Hayward.
Hayward isn't making the Hall of Fame.
Whoa. Okay. I can't be another.
Listen, I think he's a Hall of Famer, but I don't think he's going to make the Hall of Fame. I really don't.
Troy was there too. Palomalu was there. Troy was there. He had some Hall of Famers on the team. He had some guys there. I mean, that 2008 defense, those teams were pretty stacked, defensively at least. I'm probably some of the guys I'm probably missing too, but
so then when you think about it, he had Roethlisberger, Le'Veon Bell, and Antonio Brown at their peaks, and you got nothing out of that.
Defensively, we weren't there though. See, it switched philosophy. When we lost Dick LeBeau, before the Killer Bees even came about, our philosophy switched. We became a scoring team, and that's what. And Tomlin, Tomlin didn't like that. That's not his style, right? No. I'll admit one thing with Mike Tomlin. He's a boomer. He's a boomer coach. He is not like the high flying stuff. He doesn't. He wants to run the football and stop the run. That's Steeler football. right? The high flying stuff he doesn't believe in. He doesn't believe in the flashy receivers and all that stuff. That's not who he is. He wasn't, he rather win a game 10-7 than 37-34. That's who Mike Tomlin's always been, right? So,
but that's the recipe for success.
But the Chiefs. My concerns, lastly, are Mahomes in that line. Not Mahomes, but the line protecting Mahomes. That line is not good. That line is not good. I'm telling you, when they play better teams with a better line, it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem. So we'll see. We'll see. The Chiefs have been somewhat disappointing this year, but are they the most disappointing team? I don't think so. Bug, right now, real quick, who's the most disappointing team right now in your eyes?
The Bengals.
Yeah.
Cincinnati Bengals. You got a quarterback that, let's be honest, he is an MVP candidate. I don't want to hear nothing.
He is
discrediting Joe Burrow. He is one of the 3 best players for MVP, and he is playing on a team is just juvenile, JV defensively. They can't do nothing. Do you understand? This man has had 3 games where he's thrown 4 or more touchdowns with no interceptions, and he's lost? Are you fucking kidding me? How is that even? Listen, Joe Burrow, I feel for you, because I would have been dejected at this point. I'd have been like, fuck it, bench me. I don't want to play anymore. I got my money. Let me go to vacay in Hawaii. You put whoever you want to at quarterback in there, because we're not doing anything anyway, even when I'm in there. So yeah, Cincinnati has to be the biggest disappointment for me.
I mean, his numbers are just phenomenal.
He's ridiculous.
His numbers this year.
He's one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the league.
His numbers this year are just off the chart. I mean, there's no way he's not the MVP, almost like a runaway MVP at this point. Somewhat. If you swapped the numbers, they were 7-4 right now, and not 4-7. Mm-hmm. I mean, my God, he's having.
Well, you know what's funny, Brian? I'll say this. I think it was Matt Ryan in 2012, and then Matt Ryan when they went to the Super Bowl, and he won MVP. And then I think it was like 4 years later, 2016 or 2017, the Falcons finished like 7-10 or 6-10, and people were bombing him. He literally had mirror statistics from his MVP season
the next year
to that season.
Yeah,
and people were like, "How?" When I was doing my 5 metrics and ranking him in the top 5, people were like, "How is he this? The team is that." Well, his numbers are literally the same.
Yeah.
How can you bomb this guy for this? And now here we are. I'm looking at Joe Burrow, and I'm like, Jesus Christ. Joe Burrow might be because if Joe Burrow is not the quarterback on that Bengals team, we might be watching the 0-17 team.
We might be, honestly. I mean, honestly, because they can't stop anybody. They can't stop it. They've won those 4 games because Joe Burrow was putting up points.
Yes.
Putting up points. It wasn't because the defense stopped anybody. Because the Joe Burrow and that offense is putting up points.
Defense going to stop me and you while we were sleepwalking.
Yeah. Yeah. Just to keep it, my pick was going to be the Bengals too, but I had a backup team. My other team was going to be San Francisco. I think they have been
injuries
this way, but injuries are the name of the game. But they have just been riddled with injuries. Can't get out of their own way with that. I mean, there was a time where they lost their top 3 receivers. Bosa's out now. Hufunga's still out. I mean, they just look so different.
They get McCaffrey back and then lose 2 defensive players.
I I was still surprised and shocked that McCaffrey even came back this year. I mean, I understand they're trying to save their season, but he doesn't even look like himself. He doesn't look like himself at all. He looks like he's not in shape. He hasn't played. Right. And look, but for what it's worth, they're still in it. Like, the NFC West is such a shit show. It's gonna be a 9-8 team or 8-9 team that's gonna make the postseason, and they're unfortunately gonna get a home game. It shouldn't be that way. They're gonna get a home playoff game. One of those teams, either the Cardinals, the Seahawks, or Niners. Even the Rams are still in it. Everyone is still in that division. Everybody is still in it because everyone's beating up each other. Everyone's losing and winning games. So they're not done. But man, I mean, pretty disappointing season. Given the fact that last year, to me, I felt like even though the Chiefs won the Super Bowl, I felt like they were the overwhelmingly best team in the league. They were the best team in football, and now they are where they are right now. And honestly, I think I said in the beginning. I think I said in the beginning of the show or the year this year, I thought their window had closed. I thought it was over. I didn't think they were going to get back to the Super Bowl, but I didn't think they were going to be this bad. But injuries, definitely have hurt them. No question about it. No question about it. Let's get to our pick'ems, man. Let's get to our pick'ems. And for week 13, got some good games here. I'm going to share my screen real quick. Our pick'em games. Let's see what we got here. Scroll up here. So it's a little bit of a wonky week. Obviously, we are starting on Thursday for some Thanksgiving football. So we got first game is Bears at Lions. It's the first game. It's the game before the turkey comes out the oven. Fog. Who you got? Bears, Lions.
The Lions are going to cook the Bears.
Man. Yeah, that's going to be a bad. I mean, what's funny about the Bears? They actually, the last two games, Caleb Williams has looked really good. But
I think this game might be really competitive. Don't
you think so? I don't.
Yeah, I really do. I think this game might surprisingly be competitive. I got to look at the spread, but I don't think the Bears are double digit spread losers on this one, but I think the Bears, if the spread's more than 7.5, 8.5, I'd probably take the Bears. I think this is going to be a closer game than people think.
Okay, I think that this game is going to be a blowout. I just think the Lions.
I'm going for accidental success.
I think the Lions are going to do a number on this team, and on national television, they're really going to impose their will on this Bears team. I got the Lions on this one. I mean, this next game, they should have flexed this game out. Really, this game should have been on Sunday, and they should have moved probably another game. Like, I don't know what game they could have moved up, but this game is going to be garbage.
Any game other than this one.
Can you believe that we started off with Dak Prescott and Daniel Jones at quarterback? Now we have Danny DeVito.
Cooper Rush and Danny DeVito. Not Danny DeVito. Tommy DeVito.
God. Well, I don't even care. Who do you got in this game? I don't even care. I have no desire to watch this game.
I'm taking Dallas just because they managed to fucking beat Washington last week. So
what's gonna annoy me? I'm taking Dallas too, but what's gonna annoy me is that it'll be their second win in a row, and people are actually gonna think they have a chance to make the playoffs. And you know what's funny about this though? The Commanders are gonna somehow mess up and make Dallas like almost think they can actually make the playoffs. Right? I feel like the Commanders are gonna literally kind of just like fall, and Dallas is gonna continue to ride. I don't know. I just have that whole division is ass. But I got Dallas. I got Dallas. Oh, besides the Eagles, obviously. Somewhat of a good one here. I think this could be a game where Miami could either show that they are actually a real contending team and they're a team that is serious about making the postseason, or their season could be over. right? Who you got in this game, Fog? Miami?
This is
Packers.
this is a game Miami has to win
I agree. Yeah.
without question. They're
Yep.
going to be playing for their life here.
I agree.
The Packers are a playoff team, but you know what? I'm going to go with the upset here, and I'm going to take Miami.
I'm with you. I think Miami is going to be more desperate to prove a couple things. One, that they are really they are a contending team to make the postseason, the wild card. And two, I think they want to prove they can play in the cold.
Yes.
They're going to have to play in the cold in the postseason. They're going to have to go to Kansas City, or they're going to have to go to Buffalo, or they're going to have to go to Baltimore. So this is a game they can prove that they don't just win in Miami, right? They were 2-6. So and look, Tua came back. As you can see, Tua is the driver of that offense, and he has made that offense look 10 times better, obviously. I'm going the upset too. I'm going Miami. I think Miami beats them in Green Bay. Maybe the upset of the year if they do that. All right, Black Friday game, Raiders at Chiefs.
It's going to be black for the Raiders because they ain't winning. I'm taking the Chiefs.
If the Raiders have any type
Brock Bowers is going to have to throw touchdown passes to himself. The Raiders to win this fucking game.
I think this is gonna be a game that it's gonna be a get right game, they call it. And I think it's gonna be a game that the Chiefs use to kind of get them back on track, right? And calm everybody down, possibly, right? And say, we're not done. Right. But I don't think this game's gonna be close. I think it's gonna be a 2-touchdown game. I got the Chiefs. All right, going into our Sunday lineup, Chargers, Falcons.
Atlanta Chargers is dealing with way too many injuries.
They
did not they put a hell of an effort against the Ravens last week.
They did.
They're just going to be dead to rights. Traveling over next week to this week to Atlanta, 1:00 game. It's going to be a struggle for them.
Yeah, I got Atlanta in this one. I got Atlanta. Atlanta somewhat kind of disappointing. I mean, I feel like the conference is still up for grabs. I mean, the Bucks.
Yeah.
I mean, the Bucks are 5-6. The Saints are 4-7. They're only 2 games back. The Panthers are pretty much done, obviously. But
it's Atlanta's to lose at this point.
I was about to say it's really Atlanta's division to lose. And honestly, if they lose this division, man, that would be that would be a bad omen for a lot of people there. I'm talking about jobs may be lost. I'm not saying Raheem Morris is going to be gone, but I could say that could be the end of Kirk Cousins there. I wouldn't be surprised. And let Penix Jr.
Penix Jr.
Take over at that point if they don't make the postseason. You might as well. All right, let's go. My game: Steelers at Bengals.
Fuck. I want to take the Bengals, but I gotta go with Tom. I want to go with Tomlin and the Steelers. I want to take the Bengals. I do.
I'm telling you right now. I said this on Thursday night to not you, but to somebody at work. I said this could be a game we fuck up and lose against the Browns, and we did. Okay. I don't think we're gonna let that happen again. I think we're gonna have a little more sense of urgency. I think I honestly I can see us putting up the most points we've ever scored this year. I think we could surpass 34.
Listen, after that shit show with Cleveland, I thoroughly believe Pittsburgh's going to be a different team.
Yeah,
on the football field with Cincinnati.
We lose this game, horrible loss. This will be worse than the Browns game loss because it's coming off a loss. Right, so this will be a worse loss, and because Baltimore won, we need to keep a game ahead of them to win the division, right? Because right now Baltimore, I believe, is 8-4. All right,
yeah,
we got to take it. We need this game. This is not a must win, but we got a daunting schedule. We got the Bengals, then we have the Ravens again, I believe, and the Chiefs. No, I'm sorry, we got the Bengals and the Eagles. We got you guys next.
Yeah,
and the freaking Ravens again, then the Chiefs. Then the
You
Bengals again.
gotta win this game.
We have to win this game. We have to get at least one. We got to win at least two out of those games. Two of those games in that gauntlet. Those last 5 games. All right, Texans, Jags.
Texans.
Yeah, I think Texans. Texans. I mean, they lost to Titans last week. I don't see the Jags winning this game. I just think they're pretty much dead in the water at this point. This should be a get right game for the Texans as well. They lose this game, I got questions. I'm gonna have a lot of questions.
Yeah, hell yeah.
A lot of questions for the Texans. Interesting game here. Cardinals at Vikings.
I think the Cardinals can win this game. I'm going to go with the Vikings, but listen, don't be shocked if Arizona pulls up and gets a W here.
If Arizona decides to show up, they show up. When they don't decide to show up, they never show up. So it all depends on them. I think Arizona's capable of beating a lot of teams, but it depends if they want to show up or not. I don't think they will. I think the Vikings, what's happening here, and I love what Justin Jefferson said, is that everybody's eating right now, and that's fine, right? And that's great team mentality. Jordan Addison is eating right now. A lot of guys are eating right now. So I like how the ball is being spread around. Vikings are low key, like one of the best teams in the NFC, one of the best teams in the league.
Nobody's paying attention.
No one's paying attention to them right now. 9-2. They're 9-2 right now, right? The 2 wildcard spots are coming out of the NFC North. They're going to the Packers and the Vikings.
Yeah.
Let's see. Colts. Oh, God, man. Once upon a time, this game was like revered. Colts, Patriots.
I'm taking the Patriots.
Let me ask you a question real quick. Do you think Gerard Mayo could be playing for his job?
No. I don't think he is. No, absolutely not. I think he's there at least till next season.
I made a post and I said that there was a list of games that he had to win. He went about 1-5. No, 2-4. Excuse me, 2-4. I'm not gonna say he's gonna get fired, but if they lose this game, it's not gonna look good for him. Not gonna look good. Not a good start. Not a good start. They don't look competitive. I'm gonna go with the Colts too in this game, though. I'm gonna go to Colts in New England. All right, here we go. Seahawks at Jets. Gino going back to New York. Low-key storyline.
I'm taking Seattle here.
Yeah. I think Gino has his best game. He's gonna light it up. I think he's gonna light it up.
Gino's gonna outperform A-Raj.
I think he's gonna light it up. I think he has something to prove. I do. That's his former spot. All right, here we go. Titans, Commanders.
Commanders got to get off this slide. The 3 games in a row. I just don't see. I don't see them losing 4, especially with Tennessee coming in there. Yeah. I think the Commanders right this ship at this point.
I think they do. I agree. I think they right the ship. I think it's another get right game for them. They lose this game, man. What a precipitous fall, going from 7-2 to potentially 7-6, and potentially dropping out of the postseason. Man, you went from potentially winning the division.
You know what sucks is this was a team that I said they watch out. They have a sneaky chance to make the playoffs, and now because of what they did, everyone's like, oh. Now they're falling off, and it's like, oh, they suck. It's like, no, it's not that they suck. This is a young quarterback leading a young team like this. It was bound to happen
with no defense.
Yes, their defense was surprisingly good this year. I thought Dan Quinn was going to make them better. I thought that's why I said this team could be sneaky good. Watch out for them. But damn it, now people are going to be on them. Like you just said, well, if they lose this, they're 7-6, and all of a sudden they're shit. And it's like, no, they're not shit. They actually have a good quality team. And that in the next couple of drafts over the next 2 years and free agency, this team could be a powerhouse team.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. What they need is bolster up the defense. Secondary is still ass. They can use a couple pass rushers. Defensively, they're not where they need to be. Offensively, I
No.
think they're capable of being really good with McLaurin
Yes.
and those dudes. Running back game is pretty good. Brian Robinson. So I think they're a pretty solid foundation there. And we'll see. We'll see where Cliff Kingsbury is. I don't know who he's going to be. He may be a head coach again. Who knows how that's going to look. But yeah, you said it. You hit it on the nail. They're a young football team, trying to find themselves. They got to a hot start. Had a miracle Hail Mary. Things were just working, right? And now they're coming back to earth. I think Jaden Daniels I think he's hit his rookie wall.
Yeah.
I think the wall has hit it at this point, and he's just got to push through. Are they going to make the postseason?
Yeah, I still think they make the postseason.
I don't think they do. I think they just miss it. And honestly, I'm going to give them a pass for that because they are a young team, right? They're a young team, a young quarterback. I think they miss it. I think they're losing too much ground too fast. All right, next game here, Bucks Panthers.
I'm taking the Panthers in the upset.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm not mad at that, actually. I think Bryce Young is playing right now the best he's played in his career. I think the confidence is there. I watched a lot of that Chiefs game. He was making throws that was just really good.
I think Bryce Young underestimated what the NFL was going to be.
100%.
Especially in his second season where we experienced a sophomore slump. And I think him getting benched made him reevaluate and reassess his existence as a quarterback in the NFL. And what we saw against Kansas City, even a week before, there was progression there where it's like, okay, where'd this come from? You didn't look like this at the beginning of the season. He is now a student of the game, and you're seeing it materialize in front of you when he's putting that work on the field.
I agree. I definitely agree. Love that. I do agree. You know what they say? Benching is the best teacher. The bench is the best teacher. And he definitely thought. Honestly, it was one of those things where he's probably the first time he's ever been benched in his life.
Yeah,
been benched in his entire life. Now he knows how it feels. I'm sure it was a humbling feeling. I'm sure he had to reevaluate some things, like you said, and he did. And I feel like he's going to keep this job as long as they want him there. Personally, I think I would hope they move on, but we'll see. We'll see how he does like I said in my post, I said these next 4 or 5 games are him auditioning for a starting quarterback job next year, wherever that may be. Wherever that may be, he is auditioning for a starting quarterback job. So we'll see. We'll see what he can do. Rams at Saints.
Wow, this is a shit show. Damn. I'm going to take the Rams because of Sean McVay, and that's the only reason I'm taking the Rams.
I was the same thing. Look, the Rams, every single time you think they're out of it, they're back in it because they play a shitty team. So they can go 6-6. Look, easily, what could happen is they can go 6-6. The Seahawks could lose to the Jets and go 6-6. The Niners can lose to the Bills and go 5-7. They're done. Or the Niners can mess around and win. And then who do the Cardinals play? And the Cardinals can lose. They all can be 6-6.
Yeah.
That's crazy. They literally have a 4-way tie in the NFC West.
Yeah.
That's how shitty that division is right now. All right, I got the Rams too in that game. Game of the week, which I feel like should have been the Monday night game or something.
Yep.
They should flex this game. I'm not sure why this game is not.
They should have definitely flexed that game. Yeah. Sunday night, Monday night, something.
This game's going to be a late afternoon game. Game of the week by far.
Yeah, I'm pissed. I get out of work at 5. I'm gonna miss at least a quarter and a half of this game.
Eagles, Ravens. Who you got?
I'm gonna take the Ravens here.
Yeah.
They're at home. They need this win. I wouldn't be shocked if the Eagles won because the Ravens are coming back from a West Coast trip, had a good game against the Chargers on a Monday night, so it's a short week. But I think the Ravens will have enough offense to beat Philly. But listen, if the Eagles win this game, wouldn't be shocked at all because of everything I just said about what the Ravens have had to go through.
Yeah. Man. I got the Ravens winning this game because I think they need it more. I think the Ravens know they need it more. They need to keep pace with the Bills and Chiefs for that top spot in the AFC. I think the Eagles, I think they're coming off a pretty huge. Both teams are coming off West Coast wins, I believe, aren't they? Both teams are, yeah. But both teams are in LA.
The Eagles are already home. Baltimore just got home.
Yeah. So the Eagles played Sunday night, Ravens played Monday night. But it's kind of interesting. They're both coming out West, both wins, beating both LA teams. I got the Ravens as well. I mean, honestly, the Eagles, Baltimore and Philly are not too far from each other, so it's not going to be a huge road like advantage for the Ravens. But I got the Ravens winning this game. It's going to be a hell of a game. I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be the battle between two of the best quarterbacks in the league and two of the best running backs in the league. I mean, this is like a dream game. If you are,
this is going to be attrition to defense. If the Ravens defense plays bend but don't break, you'll be good. If the Ravens defense breaks, Philly's going to whitewash
them. So whoop them. Yeah.
Yeah.
This also could be potentially a Super Bowl preview as well. These two teams can meet up, and I think that would be a hell of a game if these two teams somehow found their way in New Orleans in the Super Bowl. It would be a hell of a game.
Hurts and Lamar, that'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be a hell of a game. I'm going to go to Ravens too. I think the Ravens just need this game a little more. I think they're going to be a little more desperate than Philly. And then also 2 weeks from now, Philly comes to Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Philly comes to I think it's so funny. I think after this game, the Eagles get the Ravens, and the Eagles play the I call it the FCS team Panthers, and then they play their big game against the Steelers. So they get a little get right game. Before you guys play the Steelers with the Panthers. All right, Sunday night game. Here we go. Niners, Bills.
Bills.
I'm going up the upset.
Oh, I hope the upset happens.
This is my upset of the week. This is I think the Niners are desperate. I think the Bills are riding high. They need this game. They need this more. The Bills don't necessarily need this, but they're going to try to keep pace with the 10-1 Chiefs and the Ravens. But they need this game. Also the Bills right now are the number 1 seed, I believe, because they're a tiebreaker, I believe, right? So they need this. They really do. So I got the Niners though upsetting the Bills in Buffalo. Cross country trip over here. All right, and then our Monday night recap. A game that would have been really good in the 80s. Browns at Broncos.
John Elway, Bernie Kosar, Ernest Biner.
The fumble, the drive and the fumble.
Fuck. This is Denver. Bo Nix. Sean Payton got his quarterback. The Broncos, they look much better. Cleveland just look. I love the effort Jameis Winston is putting. I love his attitude.
I agree.
But Denver's not going to lose this game. The Browns are just not. They're just not a functional team right now.
No, they're a team that's trying to figure themselves out, and there's reports that everyone's coming back. Stefanski's coming back, the GM's coming back, Deshaun Watson is coming back. So, like, I saw that report. So that's good news for me, as a Steeler fan. That's good news. That's good news for the Steelers, Ravens, and Bengals fan, because the Browns are bringing everyone back. Great, thank you. Like, that's one more. But who am I? We lost to this motherfucker, so I can't really talk too much shit. But
Twice.
You know what? I can see the Browns messing around and winning this game against Denver.
I could.
I could see it. I can see Jameis Winston. But Jameis Winston is playing, he's playing with house money, man. It doesn't matter to him. It doesn't matter. He's not. Jameis Winston knows he's not going to be a starter next year. He knows damn well he will not start. So he's making the most out of this opportunity to be a starter in the NFL. So he's going to be throwing balls with his eyes closed. It doesn't matter. And sometimes I'll never forget this from one of my coaches when I was growing up. Sometimes the hardest teams to beat are the teams that don't know what they're doing. Because there's no way to practice for that. There's no way to practice for Jameis Winston because you don't know what the hell he's going to do. So I got the Broncos winning this game, but it would not shock me if the Browns go to Denver and beat them. That would be a bad loss for Denver.
Yeah.
Really bad loss for Denver. And it would actually mess up one of my posts. I was going to put something out this week saying that should Sean Payton start getting Coach of the Year honors or recognition? You think so?
I think he could.
Yeah.
I think he
not win it, just the recognition. Yeah, after last year, after the year last year they had, I think he should both Sean Payton and Mike Tomlin should definitely get Coach of the Year recognition. No question about that. It's gonna be a good week. Some iffy games, but it should be a good week. Last 4 to 5 weeks of the season, it's pretty much it's moving. It's moving time in the NFL, right? It's time where teams need victories, or at this point you either need victories or you're just tanking for that first round pick. You're taking for that.
Yeah, you're either making a playoff run or looking to situate yourself at the top tier of playoff rankings, or you're tanking.
You're tanking.
That's the only thing you're doing. You're tanking.
That's it, man. Hey, I appreciate everyone for coming on. Jesse Smith, Kevin Oliver. Thank you guys very much for participating with us. Show's always better when you guys participate with us. Thank you guys for spending that hour and 12 minutes with us. We really, really appreciate it. I know it's kind of late there in the West Coast, or the East Coast. I'm gonna let you guys go, but
East Coast.
Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, subscribe to our pages, BZ Sports Entertainment, and of course the Fog Top 12 just dropped. The real Top 12 just dropped by Fog tonight, right, Fog? Or you dropped it?
Oh, I dropped mine already.
Perfect.
The real Top 12 drop. We just showed it.
Yeah, we just showed it. But Fog's Top 12, if you want a different perspective, has just dropped, and I share that on my page as well. Really appreciate you guys joining us on this cold, chilly Tuesday night. As for me, be easy. That's the Fog, and I'll see you guys next week.